A history of Romania. In the years leading up to 1989, was a nation shrouded in darkness moments for Romanian people. And it's the nation under the iron-fisted rule of Nicolae Ceausescu. The country had transformed into a stark reflection of his communist ideals. Ceausescu, with his wife Elena at his side, enforced a brutal regime that prioritized its own power over the welfare of its people. Basic necessities became luxuries, with food, electricity, and even heat rationed to the bare minimum. Fear became a constant companion for many Romanians. The omnipresent Securitate, Ceausescu's secret police force, instilled a climate of paranoia and suspicion in almost everything. Citizens were discouraged from speaking out against the government, their voices stifled by the threat of imprisonment or even worse. The streets, once vibrant with life, grew early silent, patrolled by the watchful eyes of the government police. Ceausescu's grand ambitions, fueled by a desire to erase Romania's national debt, further exacerbated the people's suffering. His obsession with grandiose projects like the construction of the People's Palace diverted precious resources away from essential needs. The country's once thriving agricultural industry, a source of national pride, dwindled under the strain of unrealistic production quotas. The result was a nation teetering on the brink of collapse, its people trapped in a cycle of poverty and oppression.
The world remained largely unaware of the plight of the Romanian people. Ceausescu, a master manipulator, carefully crafted an image of prosperity and stability for the international community. Foreign journalists were closely monitored, their reports vetted to maintain the facade of a thriving nation. Behind the carefully constructed facade, however, Romania was crumbling, its people desperate for change. Despite the pervasive atmosphere of fear, cracks began to appear in the seemingly impenetrable facade of Ceausescu's regime. Years of oppression and hardship had sown the seeds of discontent among the Romanian people, and whispers of dissent began to circulate. The regime's tight grip on information began to loosen, with news of successful uprisings against communist rule in neighboring countries filtering through. The city of Timișoara became a focal point for this burgeoning resistance. In December 1989, protests erupted in response to the government's attempt to evict Laszlo Tokes, a Hungarian-Romanian pastor who had spoken out against the regime. Tokes' sermons, broadcast on Hungarian radio, had resonated with many Romanians, emboldening them to raise their own voices against the injustices they faced. The government security, fearing a wider uprising, responded with brutal force. Protesters were met with tear gas, batons, and live ammunition. Their peaceful demonstrations met with violence and bloodshed. The events in Timișoara, however, far from quelling the unrest, ignited a firestorm of anger and defiance that spread like wildfire across the country. The Romanian people, pushed to their limit, were no longer willing to tolerate Ceausescu's oppressive rule. The events in Timișoara served as a catalyst, a spark that ignited the flames of revolution. The stage was set for a dramatic showdown, a struggle for freedom against overwhelming odds. The world watched with bated breath as Romania, once a symbol of communist control, prepared to write a new chapter in its history. The Romanian Revolution, sparked in the streets of Timișoara, rapidly engulfed the entire nation. News of the protests and the regime's brutal crackdown spread like wildfire, igniting a wave of anger and defiance that Ceausescu could no longer contain. What began as localized demonstrations quickly transformed into a nationwide uprising as Romanians from all walks of life took to the streets, demanding an end to decades of oppression. On December 21st, 1989, Ceausescu, in a last-ditch attempt to maintain his grip on power, staged a rally in Bucharest, expecting the usual display of forced adulation. Instead, he was met with a chorus of boos and jeers, as the crowd, no longer cowed by fear, turned against him. The rally descended into chaos, forcing Ceausescu and his wife to flee the balcony in a helicopter as the tide of revolution swept through the capital. The fall of the Ceausescus did not bring an immediate end to the violence. Loyalist forces, determined to cling to power, engaged in fierce street battles with the nascent revolutionary forces, the Romanian army, initially ordered to suppress the uprising, ultimately sided with the people, their allegiance shifting in the face of overwhelming popular support for change. After days of turmoil and bloodshed, the revolution culminated in the capture and execution of Nicolae and Elena Ceausescu on December 25th, 1989. The swift and brutal end to their reign sent shockwaves around the world, marking a pivotal moment in the fall of communism in Eastern Europe. Romania, once a symbol of oppression, had finally broken free from its shackles, but the path to freedom would be long and arduous. The collapse of the Iron Curtain meant that for the first time in decades, Romanians were free to travel beyond the confines of their borders. This newfound freedom, however, was a double-edged sword. While it offered a chance for a better life, it also led to a significant brain drain, as many of the country's best and brightest sought opportunities abroad. Doctors, engineers, and academics, disillusioned by the lack of prospects in their homeland, joined the exodus, further hampering Romania's recovery. The Romanian exodus was a testament to the complex legacy of the revolution. It was a reflection of both the hope and the despair that characterized this turbulent period, a reminder that freedom, while precious, often comes at a cost. For those who stayed behind, the challenge was to rebuild their shattered nation, while for those who left, the journey was just beginning, a search for a new life in a new land. Many opportunities were waiting for them. Thousands of Romanians, seizing the opportunity presented by the newly opened borders, decided to seek a fresh start in neighboring European countries. They embarked on perilous journeys, often with little more than the clothes on their backs, driven by the hope of finding greater opportunities and a sense of security that had eluded them for so long. The fall of Ceausescu, while a cause for celebration, also ushered in a period of profound uncertainty and upheaval in Romania. The country was in a state of transition, grappling with the legacy of a brutal dictatorship and the daunting task of rebuilding from scratch. For many Romanians, the revolution, while signifying the end of tyranny, also brought to the surface years of pent-up frustration and a deep-seated desire for a better life. This desire for a brighter future, coupled with the lingering economic hardship and political instability, fueled a mass exodus from Romania. Please subscribe to my channel. If you like this kind of video, please let me know. Thank you, and Romania, please stay strong in everything you do. Don't give up Romania. Keep pushing for a better future. M.H.S. Please subscribe.